Water-soluble graphite comes in a couple different forms. They come pencil, moldable, in the tin like this. They also come in just a basic graphite stick that I haven't tried one of those yet, and I think you can even get liquid graphite, but I'm not positive about that. I think I've seen it, but I've never tried it. Now these two you can use dry, but this one you have to use wet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a couple different sections to show you what these look like dry, and then show you what they look like wet, and then we're just going to use this one wet the way it's supposed to be. Now the pencil is just your basic graphite pencil. It's got a softer lead. So it just looks like basic graphite. Oh, here, wait. There we go. So that's dry, and then we're going to have wet down here. So then you just take any paintbrush, get it wet. It's really an interesting technique because it almost melts the graphite and then pushes it around. So if you want, say you want a little harsher edge over here, you just push the graphite that way and it will give you both a gradient over here. Of course now it's not going to work today. I added too much water. Yeah, I added too much water. But see this line up here? That's kind of the effect you get if you add water and push the excess to the edges. You will end up with more defined lines, I guess is what I'm trying to say. See how that is? See how that's just kind of pushing the darker bit upwards? I really like it. It's a lot of fun. If you are sketching outside, or you're going somewhere where you don't want to take water with you, but you want that water look, then you can take this with you and do your little sketches. Okay, so say you're out somewhere and you did your little sketch, and then you get home and you want to add that watercolor to it, you can just go back and fill it all in. So that one is a lot of fun. Very portable, the pencil. Then we're going to do this one because the last one is messy. I just want to stick with this one. This one you have to use with water. It comes in a little tin like that, and I actually like this best. Depending on how much you rub your brush in the graphite, that is going to affect how dark it is and what you get in the end. If you decide to do this particular form of the water-soluble graphite, just be aware that less water and smaller the brush, the quicker the brush dries out. Actually, I'm going to grab a smaller brush and demonstrate that to you as well. And you can layer this up. See, I just started with, see there, my brush is starting to dry out. You can layer it to add more graphite, to get those dark shadows that you might want. And I'm going to grab that smaller brush if I can remember where I put it. Okay, so I have this brush here, which is way smaller than this other one. So taking straight from water to pan to paper, you're not going to get as much area covered because the brush doesn't hold as much. And say you're doing this, and then you're painting a little bit, and you get distracted by, say, a really intense scene in Criminal Minds. Yeah. And you're not using this, and then you go back. See how quickly that dried? This has been drying for quite a while. You can still go back and push the graphite around if you decide you don't like something. It'll wear on your paper after a while, but even after it dries, this graphite you can re-wet and rework. But I wouldn't recommend that very much because then you tend to wear your paper out. Next, we have the moldables. We're going to move this. Moldable comes in a package like this. And this is the messy one. This is the one where you reach in and you get it all over your fingers while you're working with it. This one is, I assume, something one would want to use in really large areas because you can't get the finest detail with this ever. And see, I'm not getting too much detail in here because even if you press it to a really fine edge, as soon as you press onto the paper, which with much force at all, it flattens out. This is supposed to be an eye, but it doesn't look much like one. Okay, so that's dry. You can use this one dry and wet as well. There we go. This one came out really dark because I used a ton of stuff. But they're really fun products to work with, and I love how they look when you get all finished. Oh, and I forgot to show you, I believe you can even use this like onto wet paper. Let's see what happens. Make that wet. Yeah. If you take your dry moldable graphite and put it onto wet paper, you're going to get really, really, really dark. And then when you're all done, if you want extra shading, just kind of run your fingers over everything. The next art video I plan on putting up will be using the water-soluble graphite so you can kind of see it more in action instead of just the basic demonstration here. And that's it for today. Thanks so much for stopping by and watching. Toodles!